All right, everybody, welcome back to What in the State of Washington. I'm your host, Anya Robertson, recording right here at Voice Tacoma Radio Universal, where we break down Washington state politics and policy in plain talk so you know what's really going on with your vote. In episode 1, we covered the basics, what the primary is, the difference between politics and policy, what it means when someone's called an incumbent, and we talked about how voting by mail works in Washington. Today, we're moving from the basics into some of the real stuff you're going to see on your actual ballot this November, especially right here in Pierce County. And I'm not doing this alone today. I am joined by a special guest, Corwin Scott, who is in the building. He's the executive director of the Evergreen Empowerment Group, where he guides and supports individuals in expunging their records and provides fiscal sponsorship to grassroots groups. He also serves as a commissioner for the Washington State Commission on African American Affairs and is elected as a precinct committee officer in the 29th Legislative District. Corwin, welcome to the show.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm honored to be here.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So before we dive into the ballot, I'd love for you to share a little bit about yourself, your work, and what Evergreen Empowerment Group does and what drives you in this work.
Well, thank you. And again, Anya, I'm honored to be here. My day job is that I work at the Washington State Department of Transportation in the Office of Equity and Civil Rights. Most of my work there is rooted in Title VI, which has to do with non-discrimination based on race, color, or national origin. Now, the job that I wear the cape at, that's the Evergreen Empowerment Group, and that's where I work with folks to vacate their criminal records and give folks some guidance with the steps and the means to get that done. I was born at St. Joseph Hospital, so I've been in the community. I'm an East Side resident, and I love the city of Tacoma, and I love the politics and the way that they are played in the city. And there's always an open role for folks who are interested in engaging with politics to get involved. It does not matter about what neighborhood or what zip code that you're from.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit more about what a precinct committee officer does?
Yeah, so a precinct committee officer is someone that can either be appointed by their legislative district or they can be elected. I was appointed first and then I was elected, I believe, the year after that. This individual is responsible for bringing the candidates to the people. And also, we also participate in elections if someone has to vacate a state or a Senate seat. We vote on the next person to fill that seat, and then it goes to the county council for their further decision. So,
thank you. Can I ask how many precinct committee officers exist for each legislative district? Is there a bunch of y'all, or is it just you?
Well,
for your district, anyway.
I mean, it would be dope if it was just me, because then if they ever came up about who to put into a vacant seat, it'd be great. But it can vary. I believe maybe in mine, maybe there's 100 and we might need to redo that again.
That's okay.
I got the S's going.
That's all right.
100 and some odd. However, I know some of them can have maybe perhaps up to 300. I think it depends on folks that are interested in that type of work.
And so when you say 300 or 100 some odd, is that's not each legislative district, right?
It is.
Oh, wow. So there's a bunch of folks who are working to ensure that the people understand who's running for office.
Yes, and the goal should be, at least for me, is to bring the candidates to the community. So that way the candidate can hear the voices and some of the issues that are taking place in that community, and then help the community members to come up with some solutions if they are seeking their vote. So.
And then, thank you for that. And then can you tell me a little bit more, all of us, a little bit more about your role or what exactly the Commission on African American Affairs does, since you're a commissioner?
The commission position focuses on the cares and concerns of the African American community. And so we see to it that the African American community is at the table for any new laws being passed or any thing that pertains that can either be a detriment or be something that could uplift that community. There are a few other commissions as well, there are a few other commissions as well, including the Asian American Commission and also the Hispanic Commission as well. And the goals of all of the commissions are to uplift the communities that they serve and to try to reduce whatever harms that may come to those communities.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much for that about the commission work. Can you also tell us a bit more about your work as executive director for the Evergreen Empowerment Group right here in Tacoma?
Well, the Evergreen Empowerment Group started at the Evergreen State College here on 6th Avenue, which I am a graduate of 2011.
Me too, 2023.
2011 was the best class. We don't need to get off into that.
That's great.
However, the project started there because I was interested in attending law school at the time. And after visiting a number of schools, I was told that I needed to do some type of an internship with a law firm. Well, things didn't really pan out the way I wanted to. So we started the legal clinics at the Evergreen State College. And so from there,
And what do those legal clinics consist of?
Well, what we did is we brought in a partner agency that provided us with pro bono attorneys. And then myself, along with Teresa Henderson and Cheryl Bay, we went out and we gathered the community. The Evergreen State College, Tacoma was very gracious in allowing us to host these clinics at the campus. And we were able to help quite a few folks. So upon graduation, we decided to keep the good times rolling. So we formed it into a nonprofit. I went to business school, then I did go to law school after that. And here I am.
So thank you so much for telling us about your work as executive director for the Evergreen Empowerment Group. Can you share with those listening why you think civic engagement matters? Why being involved with local civics and voting and politics, dare I say it, why it matters?
Well, anytime that someone has the power to make laws and rules that you have to live under, it's always important to know who those individuals are, and it's also important to know what their agenda is. There are times that folks do not think that politics are that relevant or that they don't pertain to them. But keep in mind, some of the elections we have to deal with judges on, from the 3 different levels of the courts here in Pierce County, but also with legislatures that may create laws that impact your community and even your children. Now, there are a number of folks that don't fully appreciate what the involvement means, but if you've ever stood before a judge and you received a harsh sentence that you felt was unfair due to possibly your area code or even your zip code, keep in mind that person that gave you that sentence is an elected official. If you want that to change in your community, then you have the right to vote and choose a better option for someone that may understand some of the concerns and some of the problems that may happen and occur within your community.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that kind of down to the ground. I think it's also important to note that goes for all those publicly facing positions, right? Many of these positions are our elected folks. And so if anyone's not quite working, or we feel like they're not in alignment or don't have the same values as us or what have you, then we have every right to vote for who we think is best for our communities, right?
And I also want to add, if I may, that because folks are elected officials, that you have the right to ask for a meeting with that individual, whether it's the mayor or anyone on the city council, whether it be the county or it be the executive of the county. So don't be intimidated and don't feel afraid because your vote counts and your voice matters.
Absolutely. Thank you. And that's the whole point of What in the State of Washington. Our whole goal is to really just break down all of these into bits that are digestible by regular folks like you, me, and everybody else, with the ultimate goal of being better informed and more comfortable with the voting process. There's so many different things to vote on. And so today we're going to dive a little bit deeper into that. And I'm so grateful for you being here, Corwin. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Okay, thank you so much for that, Corwin. And that's really why this conversation matters. It's because voting shapes the systems that either support or block our communities. So when people think about elections, we usually think about the big races like president, governor, or senator. But the truth is, a lot of the decisions that affect your daily life, like schools, housing, public safety, or even whether your park gets maintenance or not, those are made by our local leaders. So let's walk through what's on the ballot this November. All right, so there are some important dates. October 17th, the ballots are mailed. October 27th is the last day to register or update your address online. You can still register in person through 8 p.m. on Election Day. And then November 4th is Election Day. The ballot deadline is 8 p.m. and ballots must be postmarked or in a drop box by then. No stamp is needed. So that's your timeline. Mark those dates down. Now, Corwin, how important is it that people pay attention to deadlines like these?
Well, I think it's important to know that if you want your vote to count, you have to do it on time and you have to do it in the way that is required by the county. As someone like myself, that my signature is sometimes off. I had an injury to my hand, so sometimes my ballot can be rejected based off the fact that my signature may not look the same every time. So for me, I have to go in and vote in person at the election office. So I do think that folks should vote early enough. That way, if there is a reason that their ballot may not make it to be counted, that they have time to receive the letter from the county informing them of the issue, and then they come in and rectify it as soon as possible. But also, the registration times are important. It is key to know that a lot of folks are unaware that if they are no longer incarcerated, they are eligible to vote. All they need to do is register with Pierce County, and then they can vote in the upcoming election.
And so when you say all, formerly incarcerated folks need to do is register to vote in Pierce County, so they can go to votewa.org, register accordingly.
Yes.
Just like anybody else.
Yes,
Thank you for that.
And I also should add that actually is statewide.
Statewide, okay.
Statewide.
Very good, thank you. That's really good information.
Yes.
Votewa.org. If you have been formerly incarcerated and are looking to vote, go to votewa.org and register and have your voice count. Next, the pamphlet gives us candidate statements. For example, in Pierce County Council District 5, we've got Brian Yamby and Terry Wise. I just want to show that both get the same space to introduce themselves, list their experiences, and share their priorities. This is where you can see who they are, what they've done, and what they plan to do in these positions. So Corwin, when you read the candidate statements, what do you think people should be looking for beyond just the party label?
Well, there's always this glossy veneer that people put on to have folks think that they are this incredible individual. I definitely think that people should look at what the contributions to the community that individual has made. Education doesn't always mean anything, because you have some folks that have a high school diploma, but they've done so many things in the community in comparison to someone that may have a doctorate. So I wouldn't be so focused on someone's education profile, but more about what have they done in this community. I would also look out for any profiles that don't have any information at all. Some folks have failed to submit their information, either on purpose or maybe they missed that deadline that we were talking about earlier. And so I would be skeptical of what their values are. I will end it by saying definitely look into the background of the candidate. A couple of years ago, there was a person that ran for a position here in Washington State, and they had done some considerable time in prison. It was great that this person was seeking to throw their hat in the ring, but they had filed their candidacy under an assumed name. So that way folks would know who they really were. Well, the local newspaper here found out who the person was, and they had exposed them on the front page of the newspaper. And some of the convictions were kind of heinous, and it made folks think that maybe they didn't want that particular person in that office. So my suggestion is look into the background of the individual and find out as much information before you cast your ballot.
And I would also add that many candidates have some sort of web page or some sort of social media page or something like that where you can look into more information about them. And then you can do deeper dives as you so choose, right? You can always Google them, right? You can always look into them in other ways. But one thing that I just wanted to hit home really well is that the voter pamphlet actually has whatever it is that those individuals want you to know. That's what they've included. They all have the same opportunity, the same word count, potentiality. Whether they write as much as the other is an individual decision, but they all have the same amount of space to be able to represent themselves to you, the voter, in the voter guide, in the voter pamphlet. So just wanted to call that out, is that these, voter pamphlets are super useful. Some folks, they just get the pamphlet for their district during voting season, and they just read those and they make those determinations based off of what they read, which is based off of what those candidates submitted. And that's okay too. And then some folks take further steps. They Google them, they go to their social media, they see what have they done for me lately, like they look into them a bit deeper. And so just want you to know that when you register to vote, you will receive a voter pamphlet in the mail if you've registered in time enough to receive one. And everything that's in here about the candidate is what they submitted on their own and what they want voters to see and read to determine if they are the appropriate person for you to be voting for in whatever regard. So just wanted to call that out, that everyone gets a shot and gets the space to communicate to the voters why they should elect them into whatever position it is that they're running for. Thank you so much, Corwin.
Oh, yes.
So additionally, there's instructions in the pamphlet that give really clear instructions on voting, how to fill out your ballot, where the drop boxes are, and how to track your ballot online. This is key. If your ballot doesn't get back, your voice doesn't count, like Corwin was saying earlier. So take a minute to read those instructions that are located in the pamphlet. Corwin, do you have any other advice for first-time voters when it comes to making sure their ballot gets counted?
Well, I definitely think to vote early as possible.
Right, like you were saying earlier. Mm-hmm.
I think that is key to ensuring that if your ballot is rejected for any reason, you will have a chance to remedy that. But also to know where the voting boxes are, which is also a very key thing. There are a lot of folks that do their voting at the very last minute. And so sometimes there will be a line of cars around a voting box.
Yeah.
But the cutoff time is 8 p.m. So folks need to be sure to be in that line or do it as soon as possible. Now, I'm from the old days where you used to have to vote in person, which was also a great thing to do as well. But it also, you had to stand in the rain at times outside of different institutions, even schools. So I think that the vote-in ballot format has been easier and can make it accessible for all individuals.
Absolutely. And I think it's important to highlight that those drop boxes do get backed up. There is typically a line of cars and people as you get closer to 8 p.m. So I have one a couple blocks down the street from me. So I just walk my dog and, me and my son walk my dog and drop it off in the ballot on the way. So it's good to know where yours is. And there is a full, exhaustive, complete list of drop boxes in the voter pamphlet, like one of the first few pages. So make sure you check that out in your voter's pamphlet. All right, so now let's zoom out a bit. The pamphlet confirms that voters across Pierce County will be choosing leadership in 23 cities and towns, 17 school districts, 12 fire districts, 4 park districts, 4 water districts, and 1 sewer district. And that's a lot, but that doesn't have to get you overwhelmed. So your ballot is personalized. If you live in Tacoma, you'll see only Tacoma races. If you live in University Place, you'll see only University Place races. Corwin, any thoughts on why it's important for people to know their ballot is personalized?
I think it ensures that people are only going to get the information that pertains directly to them and in their communities. It also keeps folks from, I think, becoming overwhelmed with too much information. Things that are going on in another county or in another part of the state do not pertain to what's happening here unless this is a statewide issue. And so it helps people to stay focused and on track with what may be important to them, on whether it may cost them in property taxes or any other local taxes that could be brought on.
Very good. Yeah, I agree. And I think, sometimes the idea of voting is like, oh my God, this is such a big state. There's all these things that are going to be on this ballot. Ain't nobody got time for that, right? But it's super important to know and understand that you're only going to see things that pertain to you. And if it is a statewide something that you need to vote on, then it's going to be very few of those, but it's going to pertain to you, or else it will not be on your ballot. So you're not going to see the same things that Seattle's going to see if you live in Tacoma, and vice versa, unless it's relevant to you statewide, a statewide issue. Absolutely. Thank you for that. Okay, so before we wrap this up, I also want to spend a little bit of time talking about something unique that's available if you live in Seattle. These are the democracy vouchers. So here's how it works in a nutshell. So the city of Seattle gives every eligible voter 4 vouchers worth $25 each. That's $100 total. You can assign those vouchers to the candidates you support in local races, like city council or city attorney, etc. The cool thing is it's not your own money. It's public funding that the city provides so that everyone has a voice, not just the folks who can write a big check, right? And so it means you can literally hand your vouchers to the candidates you want to see win. And they turn them in to get real campaign funding. This program makes local campaigns a bit more accessible because candidates who don't have wealthy donors still have a way to raise money directly from their communities. So here's how you actually use democracy vouchers if you live in Seattle. All right, so you just pick the candidate you want to support, write their name on the voucher, sign it, and then either mail it back in the envelope provided, hand it to the candidate's campaign, or drop it off at the city's election office. You can give all your vouchers to one person, or you can split them up. And once your vouchers are turned in, the city verifies them, and that candidate gets real campaign funding. Again, if you live in Seattle and need help with your vouchers, whether you lost them, you're not sure how to fill them out, don't know where they are, or you just want to check if a candidate is participating in this Democracy Voucher Program, you can reach out to the Democracy Voucher Program directly. You can email them at democracyvoucher@seattle.gov, or you can leave a message at 206-727-8855. They also have staff who can help. Wayne Barnett is their executive director, and Renee LeBeau is their program manager. So don't hesitate to call or email if you have questions. That's exactly what they're there for. It's literally free money from the city to help everyday voters like you and me have just as much say as the bigger donors. Corwin, what's your take on the Democracy Voucher Program?
I think it's a fantastic program. A lot of times you have folks that are grassroots candidates that don't have a lot of campaign funds, but they have been entrenched in those communities and they know what needs to get done. Because they're not always able to raise capital, because a lot of the folks that support them may not have a lot of funds, this helps to make the playing field equal. And I think it's a great program, and I hope it's something that the city of Tacoma can bring here in the future.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool program. Okay, as we're rounding the end of this episode, here's my tip. Don't worry about the whole list of candidates and the whole list of things to vote on. Just focus on what's in front of you. And the best way to know exactly what's on your ballot is to go to votewa.gov. That's where you can check your voter registration, confirm your address, and you can even preview your ballot once it's ready. In fact, you can pause this episode right now and just do it. Go to votewa.gov and make sure your information is current. That way, when your ballot hits your mailbox, you're ready. Corwin, thank you so much for joining us today. I appreciate all of your input. I appreciate your leadership. I appreciate all the work that you do in community. Is there any last words you wanted to leave us with today?
I certainly want to remind everyone that their voice and their vote does count.
Absolutely.
Please don't think that your vote doesn't matter. There are some folks in this country that are trying to silence your vote in other parts of this country. And they wouldn't go to such great efforts if your vote did not count. Please remember that you are important. You are part of this community, and your voice needs to be heard. There are people out there that do care about some of the same things that you do. And it's your job and your responsibility to help to get those folks in office to make your community a better place.
Thank you for that. Yeah. All right. Thank you again to Corwin Scott of the Evergreen Empowerment Group, the Washington State Commission on African American Affairs, and as an elected,
An elected precinct committee officer.
And an elected precinct committee officer. I'm Anya Robertson, and I'll see you next time as we dive deeper into how to fill out your ballot correctly, step by step, so you're confident and ready when it's time to vote. Thank you so much. Have a great day, everyone.